Yeah.
Right. I'd like to call
I'd be
the
surprised.
Tuesday, July 10th meeting of the Finance Committee to order. Roll call. Alder Galvin.
Here.
Alder Kerber-Stacks.
Present.
Alder LaFave.
Here.
And Alder Dorf here. I would entertain a motion for approval of the agenda.
Also move.
Second. Moved by Alder LaFave, second by Alder Kerber-Stacks. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I'll entertain a motion for approval of the minutes.
Motion approved.
Motion approved by Alder Kerber-Stacks. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Alder Galvin. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Regular business. Consideration with possible action on request to borrow $2 million to fund the first phase of the shipyard development agreement 18-02, including property acquisition, geotechnical and environmental testing, architectural, structural, and civil engineering and design, and preliminary site work. We just worked on this at RDA. I was there this afternoon, but Diana, do you
Yep,
want to?
I will start this one. If you remember, actually, there was a development agreement that was approved back in June, actually at the council meeting on 6/19, which gave the permission to move forward with the shipyard project. Now we are coming back for asking for phase one of borrowing money for this project. We are asking for $2 million, and at this point, we are going to be comparing all of our different options of which is the best lowest cost borrowing option for the city. And so we're just looking for approval at this point to move forward for borrowing $2 million for phase one.
Okay, I have a question. On this
Yes.
$2 million, will this mean that the design that was presented is part of this?
No, this is to develop
Okay,
the
that's-
design.
Okay, because it
Yes,
says
and to-
design and that, because
Right.
I have a question, I will not approve the design that was presented.
Okay.
But
yep,
but
and-
I believe in, going ahead with the acquisition.
Yep, the original, this request, about 1.2 million will actually be for property acquisition, and the other $800,000 will be, part of that will be for geotechnical and environmental testing, some architectural, structural, and civil engineer and design. And at that point, they're gonna go for an RFP to create the design. And so that may even come back to the committees before it goes out. But that was just a proposal, a recommendation, but they're gonna go out and get a actual company to do the design work.
Okay, when they're doing the design, does it go to another committee first to
It
look
will go
at
to
it? and then-
RDA.
It will go to RDA,
It'll go to
correct.
RDA.
RDA, okay.
And there also could be grant money available. There's some things we're not sure of yet, but we discussed that in RDA this afternoon.
Right, and I think that's part of the reason why the whole project could be as high as $9.5 million, but we're going with phase one at this point, to move forward, figure out what the cost of the, do the design and figure out a more comprehensive price for the project. And at that point, there could be other funding opportunities, so we wouldn't be requesting the second phase of the borrowing until we have more information.
Do you have a breakdown out of these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 things that they're thinking about spending?
Yes.
I mean, I'm not asking for exact figures, but
Nope, 1,160,000 is going to be for acquisition, and I guess the remainder, I do not have a breakdown. Kevin is here, or Director Volk is here. I guess I don't know if you would have any more specifics than that, a remaining 800,000?
Sure. So we put 800,000, or as Ms. Ellenbecker mentioned, the 1.1 is for the property acquisition. That's based on agreed upon contracts.
right.
Those are all been negotiated and they're contingent upon RDA, city council approval to get the funding for those. So those prices, that's where it'll be at. We looked at 800,000 in terms of having enough money, and this was based on discussions with Public Works and with Parks, what we went through, basically our last big designs with Colburn Pool in terms of the amount that was needed for that. We felt that this will probably fall $500,000 to $600,000 range for all of the design. But it does allow for some additional funds for geotechnical testing, environmental testing. We're dealing with 13, and once we add in Badger Sheet Metal, 20 plus acres that we need to look at. So just having enough funding available to do additional testing if needed. And to answer Alderperson LaFave's question, in terms of the design, one of the things that we'll be doing that RDA discussed is request for proposals for design services, go back, get that approved by RDA, hire a consultant that would also be approved by RDA. And then part of that design process, the goal would be to look at, okay, what are all the things you could potentially build and have a cost breakdown so that depending on the cost, you could look at, look, I approve of these things, but I wouldn't support these things, to have that process kind of go through both council and the public involvement. But that's roughly about the breakdown that we're looking at. It's enough to get us, I think, what we need with a margin of error, but I think it also restrains that we're not gonna have money that's being borrowed and not like just sitting there, not being used. So we put this money to work in the next 3 months.
So the geotesting and environmental would be for the properties we're buying. I mean, I would imagine by now we've already done that testing on that site.
We've already done that testing on that site. We've actually done it on the properties that we're buying. But I think in terms of once we look at doing the design, okay, we want to put these specific structures there, we want to do these types of things here, we might need a little more specific testing for some exact locations where those things are going to go. So, like I said, we've done some already, but this is to allow for, okay, if we need some additional for specifically, now we know this building, we'd like to put this building here, we'd like to put these piers here, we'd like to do this stuff in the water. It allows for some additional testing beyond what we've done.
Okay, and preliminary site work?
Preliminary site work, we'll probably be looking at moving earth, and that is, our research found that generally the environmental contamination there, both the sites are closed, they have a cap on top of them, but because they're in a floodplain, we'd like to put additional fill in that area, and so probably what we're looking at is moving additional fill into the area to raise it up potentially as high as 4 feet in some places.
4 more feet?
Mhm.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Sure.
Any other questions? No? Then I would entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second. Motion approved by Alder Galvin, second by Alder Corpus Dax. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. All right, item 2, discussion with possible action on a request by the purchasing manager to amend the purchasing policy. Purchasing manager is requesting a change to the following item in ordinance 1.79, Finance Department Purchasing Division, Section 5, Purchase Award, final sentence, except where specifically authorized in Wisconsin statutes, all single expenditures exceeding $10,000 and all yearly supply service agreements over $10,000 require Finance Committee and Council approval prior to award. And the purchasing manager is requesting a change from the $10,000 approval threshold to $25,000. Go ahead.
In looking at the history, the $10,000 threshold has been on the books since 1996 or earlier. I did a survey, which I included here, of other municipalities, larger and smaller than the city, several counties, school districts, the water utility, et cetera. And the majority of those agencies are not required to bring purchases less than $25,000 back to their boards for approval. So I'm asking to raise our threshold to that $25,000 level. I included some documentation in support of that, but I think the most compelling argument is that still 60% of what I'm bringing forward now would still come to you. It's over that $25,000 threshold, and that represents 92% of the dollars. So you would be, I'm asking you to relinquish 8% of the dollar, the control that you have over the dollars that are being spent today. But the trade-off is that it will save a lot of time for staff. It'll expedite the process of getting small purchase orders issued, et cetera. And Chris can attest to the fact that she's sending people over to our office a couple times a week to open sealed quotes for lawnmowers, that are $10,000, $12,000.
Makes a lot of sense to me. Any discussion?
So typically you're talking about lawnmowers? What
Well,
are-
anything under $25,000. I mean, obviously a lot of commodities beyond lawnmowers, but that's an example where we buy $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 pieces of equipment that are budgeted, yet we still bring it back to the Finance Committee. And it's not only the Finance Committee now, over the years, we've started taking Public Works equipment to INS and Parks equipment to Parks. So it's really committee as opposed to just Finance Committee that I'm referring to here.
Okay.
And I know that many districts or cities, school districts are a lot higher than 25,000. We haven't raised that. I read it. How many years was it?
Well, the ordinance was updated in 1996.
22 years.
And it could have been on the books before that.
Right.
I did include, as attachment A, these are agencies, and they're all at $25,000 and
Right.
higher.
So, yeah, it makes a lot of sense to me. Anyone else have any?
So like even some of these items that I'm looking at, some of the next, under the report of the purchasing manager, some of these items would fall under that.
Yes.
Okay.
Then I would entertain a motion.
Oops, I was gonna say, I wonder, well, I'm kinda, I don't know on this one.
Okay.
No. Makes sense in a way, but yet there has to be some report. Maybe what we would need then, if we change it to this, then I would like to have a monthly report on what we're spending on these items, you know, so that we can justify the,
Is that something you're doing already? If you're not.
I think she's
I'm not
asking
sure.
anything that fell between the 10 and the 25,000, if you could give them some kind of recap either on a monthly or quarterly basis to say what maybe
see
did
that
come
we're,
in.
you know, that, yeah,
But
I'd like
would
to
that-
see some accounting.
Yeah, we record, we keep, we call it a key performance indicator. We record all of our spend, even that's under $10,000. So we capture that.
Mhm. If that could come to the committee each month.
How about
and then see how we're doing.
quarterly? How about quarterly?
Quarterly?
Yeah, because I don't think we need to
Okay,
add something
okay,
every
then
month.
we can, you know, we can look at the expenditures and see that, you know,
Mhm.
make sure that it was justified.
Yeah, that's an easy, I mean, that report exists, so I would just have to forward it
Okay,
to you.
I would go with that then. Do I have to make that as a motion, or?
You'd have to probably amend the motion, right?
Right. You could say, I want to amend this item to include a quarterly report on any purchases under $25,000. So
Between 10,000
Between 10
and
and
25,000. Yes.
Between,
Okay,
yeah.
okay, that's my
Yes.
amended motion.
All right, so the motion is, as I understand it, that motion is to change the line item in ordinance 1.79 from 10,000 to 25,000, and in addition, on a quarterly basis, provide a report on the items purchased between the $10,000 and $25,000 limit.
I'll second that.
I was restating it for
Yes.
Kathy.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Yes, just so we got it
For Kathy.
clear.
For Alder LaFave and Alder Gilman seconded it. Did you capture that? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right. Now you go back to the next item. I think we're purchasing, report of the purchasing manager.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll take these in order. I'm starting with item E2. Request approval to purchase a respirator fit testing system from Jefferson Fire and Safety for $13,267. We put that out for bid. The bid summary, the bid tabulation is in your packet, and we're recommending an award to the low bidder.
Do you need separate motions then for all of these? Is that-
Well, yeah, because I don't have all the information,
Okay.
so I think we should take, I didn't include all the information in the packet. so-
Got it.
Yeah, 'cause I do have one question on one thing is on one of the other ones here.
Okay, well,
just
we'll
so I
wait
know
till we
what it
get
is.
there.
Yeah.
Okay, so how about, are there any question, discussion on getting the respirator fit testing system?
Motion to approve.
Motion approved by Galvin, Alder Galvin, second by Alder Crookstas. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, item 3.
Item E3 is a request to approve the purchase of a Gravely UTV with a slide-in transport cot from Ambrosia Sales for $19,200. Again, this was a bid. The results are included in your packet. We're recommending the purchase from the low bidder, which was Ambrosia's Sales for $19,200.
That's a, what is that?
It is a all-terrain vehicle that has a cot, and so it can transport a patient on the back. And is this used at the
Okay.
stadium, or?
It's used at Lambeau Field, all special events.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I was just
Creek,
wondering,
things
what the
like
heck
that.
is that? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Any further
No,
discussion?
No.
I'll entertain a motion.
Motion approved.
Motion approved by Alder Galvin, second by Alder Corpus Dask. All those in favor? Aye. Aye. Motion carries. Next.
Okay, the next item is E4, which is a request approval to issue a 2-year contract for voice over internet protocol service through the Wisconsin State contract to AT&T for $55,512, which is $27,756 per year. The IT manager, Mike Ronick, could not be here tonight, so I'm a little sketchy on the details. We participated in the state contract for many years. The voice over IP allows all of our landlines to use our internet to capture voice messages and recordings, voicemail, et cetera. AT&T has been awarded the state contract. It's quite cost-effective, and it's just a contract renewal for the next 2 years.
I know that they've been useful too in security situations where you can use them to make announcements over the phone. Is that what we'd be able to do?
I got one, yeah.
Yeah, there is that functionality,
That
yes.
functionality.
And
if it
send
was
out
needed.
alarms,
Yes, I
Alarms
got
and
that
stuff.
on my
Yeah.
phone, yeah.
alerts.
And I believe, Rick, this is just a replacement of our long distance, right? This is not additional service.
No, this is an existing service
This
with
is
just
an
renewal.
extension
A
of the
renewal?
contract. Yeah,
Okay.
it's just
And
renewal.
it's
not
on an
new.
annual basis, it's a savings of about $2,000 per year over the current contract.
Oh,
That's
good. That's good.
Mhm.
Any other discussion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion by Alder LaFave to approve. Second by Alder Corpus Dax. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. E5.
Okay, item E5, I am going to withdraw that item. When the bids came in, they were less than $10,000, so they do not require committee approval. So we were able to issue that purchase order without bringing it to the committee.
Okay. E6.
Which brings us to item number E6, which is a discussion with possible action regarding entering into a 2-year agreement with Associated Bank for banking services with options for 2 1-year renewals. I'm going to hand out
It says more
something,
than that, it said.
It says for
Four.
2-year extension.
I'm sorry, for 2-year renewals. This is just a little bit of a recap, giving you some background on this because I didn't have it before the agenda was due last week. Director Ellenbecker can address our relationship with Associated over the years.
I don't know the exact number of years, but it's been 20-plus years that we've been working with Associated Bank. And I know there was an RFP that was done, I'm going to say 7, 10 years ago. And at that point, Associated Bank also won the RFP. And we also did some research this summer and reached out to, this spring, and reached out to some other banks and did some comparable pricing. And there was no other vendor that could come as close to our pricing that we have and the services that we're already receiving with Associated Bank.
So we get a higher interest rate from them, it looks like? Or
Their interest rate is based off of what the Fed rate is. So as the Fed rate increases, our interest rate will increase.
Okay.
And that earnings credit that we get, because the interest rate is much higher than what other banks are currently
That's what
offering.
it looks like. Okay.
I have a concern about about extending it another 4 years. I would like to see it do the 2 years, and then I think we should check around. As Associated might be buying more banks.
It's
and
just
as they
with,
get bigger, it might,
it says
you know,
with options,
with
though.
options, yeah.
With
So they have to
options.
come back here, then?
Right, yeah.
Okay,
It
as
doesn't
long as
mean
they
it
come back.
automatically.
And it's a
Yeah, I would
mutual
like to,
consent, so we
yeah.
could withdraw
Right.
at any time during those option
Right.
periods if the interest rate was not favorable or if service deteriorated. And I should have prefaced this by saying, Brown County did the RFP this year, back in 2017. We're piggybacking off their work. I included a summary of the vendors that responded to their RFP, and to show that clearly Associated earned their award recommendation. And then we brought Associated in, and they customized our proposal. And it's actually a net income situation rather than an expense. I still put it on the agenda for your approval, but it's a revenue generator rather than an expense item.
Okay.
All right, I will entertain a motion.
Motion approved.
Motion approved by Alder Galvin. Second by Alder Corpus Dax. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. Report of the Finance Director.
I don't have many details, all the departments are just busy, with their normal work. The Finance Department has just recently ended our 2017 audit, and that the final financial results will be coming to our next meeting. So Shank will be bringing their presentation and their management letter to our next meeting.
Okay, thank you.
So that is all I have.
Informational Contingency Fund.
Contingency is just, again, it's just more informational saying what's the balance of the fund.
Okay. And the next Finance Committee meeting will be held on Tuesday, August 14th, 2018 at 4:30 PM. I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn. Second.
Motion to adjourn by Alder Corpus Dax, second by Alder LaFave. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We're adjourned. For your brief
Yes.
period.
Just make sure you log out or sign out of your meeting.
Yes, that's right. Sign out. Okay, so back to the